Hi, in this OpenTalk screencast, I'm going to show you how to subscribe to every new video stream that comes into the session after you have connected. So to do that, we need to look at something called Stream Created Event, and we can find that by going to the JavaScript documentation, select the session object, and scroll down to Add Event Listener. And if you scroll through all the events that it can listen to, you'd see a Session Created event. And that's the one we're looking for, so click on that, and you'll notice that it has a property called streams, which is an array of stream, which is what we need when we call session.subscribe. So now we have what we need, so let's go to our terminal and open up a new file. Let's call it session_stream_created.html. I'm going to be using jQuery, so the first thing I'm going to include is the jQuery library, then I'm going to include the OpenTalk library, and now we can start executing some JavaScript. In the JavaScript, the first thing we want to do is create a session through tb.initSession. InitSession takes in a parameter called the session ID, which is going to be generated by your server code. So let's start. var session equals tb.initSession and pass in the session ID that you generated with your server code. And then you want to add an event listener to that session. So you do session.addEventListener to stream created event and pass in the function handler to execute when the event is triggered. After the event listener, we can connect to the session. Let's look in the documentation by quickly going to session object, scrolling down to the connect function, and we'll see that connect takes in two parameters, API key and the token generated by the server for each specific session. So let's go back to our code and paste in our API key and our token generated for that session by the server code. And the last thing to do here is to define the stream created handler function that we need to use. A stream event will be passed into this stream created handler, and like we saw before, this stream event has a property called streams, which is an array of stream objects. So in the stream created handler, let's just write a for loop that iterates through the streams property, and then we'll subscribe to all of the video streams. Usually every time the streams created handler is fired, there is only one stream in that array. So inside the for loop, I would store the array index in a variable so I don't have to type it over and over again. Then I'll create a new div with a unique ID that's specific to that video stream. To get this ID, revisit the documentation, click on the stream object, and under the stream object there's a property called stream ID. So for this new div, the ID would be stream.streamID. And then the next step is to append this new div into the body so it shows up on the page. And the last step now is just to do session.subscribe. To see what parameters subscribe take in, go to the documentation, click the session object, and look at the subscribe function. It takes in a stream and then replacement ID. So now in this function, do session.subscribe stream, stream.streamID. And now we should be all set. Let's go into our browser and test this out. What we'll see in the beginning initially is just a blank screen, but as when someone starts publishing video onto the session, our stream created handler would be triggered and would be able to see his video feed. And this is me messing around with my iPod Touch, publishing video into the session. My name is Song. If you have any questions, tweet me or email me. Thanks for watching.